Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and I have a botany lesson to share with you today. We are working through our Waldorf curriculum by Live Education, and this is the Botany Main Lesson Block, and we're going to be working on a multi-day several part lesson on conifers. Today we're going to be focusing on the cones of conifers using our main lesson book as content inspiration, as well as this book called Botanicum, which is beautifully illustrated and does contain some content, but today's illustration comes from this book. We're going to be working with our Sargent Art square chalk pastels, and there are not that many left, but we're still going to be using that, as well as a couple other pastel pencils. We're working in our main lesson book. These are 9.5 inches by 12.5 inches, and you can find them at a Child Stream. Now, these are larger than what you would typically use for this age, but I do like the blank pages on both sides, and I do like that it's separated with onion skin, which sometimes we use that onion skin as part of our lesson. Other times we pull them out when our lesson is done, because I like to present our lessons as 2-page spreads, and I like to be able to see them as 2-page spreads once we're done. So I'm starting out with our square chalk pastels to give the general look of the cone, but I am going to come back in with this blender just to blend the colors together a little bit, and also using my General's pastel pencils, and those ones are more detailed. They're a little bit stronger. They're not as crumbly as chalk pastels, and they're great for more detailed work. So I'm enjoying adding those in, but they have a limited color range, at least for the set that I purchased, and so I still like to rely on the rich color of our Sargent Art square pastels. So I'm doing this pine cone, and I'm trying to blend as many colors as possible in order to give it that same look that's in the book called Botanicum, which comes with such gorgeous illustrations. We have used that book so many times for our botany lesson, and while enough illustrations do come in our botany main lesson book by Live Education, I find that I need some more inspiration for our illustrations, and I find them in other books and resources. A lot of times I also use other books and resources as part of our main lesson block, either to supplement the lessons or to provide more background information so that I can present the lessons. Sometimes I use picture books as part of our opening activities that complement the lessons that we're doing for that day. Right now, I'm currently homeschooling just a 13-year-old, as my other children are grown and they are no longer homeschooling. So we're not utilizing our picture books and our illustrated books as much as we used to. But in the past, even if I was homeschooling an older middle school child, I would still heavily use those illustrated books because I had younger students that would enjoy them, which meant that my older students could still benefit and enjoy them as well, but not feel like I was reading them a picture book. So now that I'm just down to homeschooling a middle schooler, we're not using them as much, but on occasion I'll pull them out so that we can have them there as nostalgia or some visual inspiration. But for the most part, we're using other resources at this point. So I've got the cone on one side. These are 2 different species of trees, and I will be labeling each one. And then I have the pine needles that come up out of that twig. And to finish it off, I'm using my matte fixative, and this is to protect the chalk so that it doesn't smear and get all over our other work or just ruin our work. So you want to do this outside because it smells heavily, and you want to let it dry thoroughly before you bring it in to dissipate that smell and to allow it to fully dry. I hope that you enjoyed this look at our botany lesson. Don't forget to check out the blog post that accompanies this video. You can find that link down in the description box below. You can find all of the resources that we're using for our botany main lesson block, and you can find pictures and other videos for this lesson. And if you'd like to see how we're homeschooling on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram and now on TikTok at Pepper and Pine.